Hello again, and welcome to your third math portfolio. So again, make sure you download this sheet from Connexus so you have the directions. And this is the Mixatrell Mix portfolio. And we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions. So this one, there isn't going to be a form to fill out like the last one, but let's go ahead and go through the directions here. We're going to write our own recipe for a trail mix. And we need a name for it, something that'll get people to want to eat it. You can, if you want to, create a slogan, logo, package design, any of that. That's not required, but may get you a little bit better grade. Your recipe must meet the following contest guidelines. So this is the part that's important. The part that I'm really looking for as your math teacher. You need 5 ingredients, at least. You can have more, but at least 5. 5 is the minimum. Each ingredient needs to be represented by a different mixed number. So don't give me any whole numbers. Don't give me any decimals. I want all mixed numbers. And in the end, it must be exactly 10 cups. So all of 5 ingredients have to add up to 10 cups. And then after you've completed your recipe, you need to prove that it makes exactly 10 cups. And I'm going to show you how to do that while you're doing it to kind of help you. And then explain how to measure it using only a 1/3 cup and 1/4 cup. And use equation or other models to show how you would measure each ingredient with only 2 measuring cups. So I'll show you how to do that. So first, let's get going on making our recipe. Alright, so I got my ingredients here and my name. I went ahead and did that so you didn't have to see me typing all that in. Name's going to be Iron Man Mix because I did an Iron Man not too long ago. These are the kind of things I put in my mix. I put yogurt covered raisins, almonds, chocolate covered espresso beans, Skittles, and Cliff Bars chopped up. So now we need to make this recipe. So remember, our requirement is that it is 10 cups. So for my yogurt covered raisins, let's say I want 1 1/3 cups of that. So this is where I said I'd show you an easier way to do this to make sure it adds up to 10 cups. So what I'm going to do is take my 10 and subtract my 1 1/3. So I can't subtract 10 minus 1/3, so I got to borrow. So I'm going to make that 9 3/3. Just to make it easier, always make it whatever your denominator is. So since I had 1/3, my denominator is 3, so I made it thirds, and then 1 would be 3/3. So 3/3 minus 1/3 would be 2/3, and 9 minus 1 is 8. So I'm at 8 2/3 now. So my almonds, I'm going to have, I like almonds, so let's do a little bit more of those than the raisins. So let's do 1 2/3 of that. So now I take my 8 2/3 minus 1 2/3, and I'm going to get, I can do 2/3 minus 2/3 and get 0, and then 8 minus 1 is 7. So I got 7 cups left. Next I'm going to do my chocolate covered espresso beans. Those are good, but I don't eat too many of those, so I'm just going to do 3/4 of a cup. So I'm going to do 7 minus 3/4. So again, I can't do just 7 minus 3/4, I got to borrow. So 6 minus, my denominator is 4, so I'm going to make it 4/4. And now I can subtract. So 4 minus 3 would be 1/4, and then 6 minus nothing is still 6. So 6 1/4. Skittles, I'm going to have a lot of Skittles because I like some sugar when I'm doing an Ironman. So I'm going to do 2 1/2 cups. So I'm going to take my 6 1/4 minus 2 1/2. So 1/4 minus 2 1/2 I can't do. First I got to do common denominator. So 1/4 would be, or 1/2 would be 2/4. So I'm going to change this to 2 2/4. So I still can't do 1/4 minus 2/4, so I got to borrow. So that becomes 5, and I'm going to add 4 to that, so it's going to be 5/4. Because 4/4 plus 1/4 would be 5/4. So now I can subtract. So 5 minus 2 would be 3/4, and then 5 minus 2 would be 3. So I got 3 3/4 cups left, and that's how much Cliff Bar I'm going to put into my recipe. My main ingredient really is Cliff Bar. Probably have a different ratio there when I actually make it, but it's good enough. So 3 3/4 minus my 3 3/4 is going to get me to 0. So now what I can do is double check myself and make sure all my ingredients add up. Alright, so now I got my ingredients there, and I'm going to go ahead and add these all up and make sure. So I subtracted first, so I'm going to double check myself, make sure they add up. So I got 1 1/3 plus 1 2/3. Common denominator there. That's why I started with those, and then I'm going to do my other ones, and then I'll put the two together. So 1/3 plus 2/3 would be 3/3, and 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 3/3 is 1, so 2 plus 3/3 would give me 3. So I got 3 cups there. Next I'm going to do my 3/4 plus 2 1/2 plus 3 3/4. You notice I'm keeping things that are similar together. So 1/2, again I need to make a common denominator, that would be 2/4. So now I can add. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8/4. And then 2 plus 3 is 5. And then 8 divided by 4 would give me 2. So 5 plus 2 would equal 7. And then 3 plus 7 gives me a total of 10. So last step I need to do is just take this and show how to divide up each of these into with either 1/3 of a cup or 1/4 of a cup. So, alright, so now I just need to take my trail mix and divide it up into either a 1/3 or 1/4 cup measurements. So if I just convert everything to thirds and fourths and make them in proper fractions, then I'll know how many I need. So make this an improper fraction, 1 1/3 times plus 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4, so this would be 4/3. So I need 4 scoops of that using the 1/3. So 4 1/3 scoops. So 1 2/3, so multiply, add, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5/3. So I would need 5 1/3 scoops. So for 3/4, that's already in fourths, so I would need 3 1/4 scoops. So 2 1/2, I need to make that into fourths again, so remember that equaled 2 2/4. Now make that improper, so 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10, so that would equal 10/4. So that equals 10 1/4 scoops. And last one, 3 3/4, so 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15. So that would equal 15/4 as an improper fraction. So I would need 15 1/4 scoops of Cliff Bar.